What's up? I'm Logan. I'm visiting Paris with the Weiss team. We are working with our friends at Slow Spin Society, and he organized some events for us this weekend. We have 3 days at MassWorks, and we did a roundtable discussion at Stolen Garage. Got some group rides, some alley cats. Loving the bike infrastructure here. Loving the community. We had a big turnout for the group ride yesterday. And I'm enjoying the sights. It's my first time in Europe, so what a great first experience. I've been working in Weiss for about 3.5 years now, and I am the painter. I design and finish all the stuff that we're making. I'm also doing the t-shirts and website. If you hit up the website, it's me chatting with you, answering the questions and whatnot. I grew up in Louisiana, right outside New Orleans, and been in New York on and off for about 7-8 years now.
How did you get into riding a bike?
So I grew up skateboarding, and I was working in a skate shop, working at Humidity, and my whole life was revolving around skateboarding. So kind of got to a point where I was enjoying riding my bike to the spot more than actually skating. So was riding Fixedgear. There was only a couple people around that road track in New Orleans, but got inspired by them. Watched Macaframa, watched MASH, and fell in love. And I was exclusively riding track bikes for years, and then I got sucked into the gravel world. Been really enjoying that.
Yeah, so you have 2 Weiss bikes. You have a track bike and a gravel bike, yeah?
Yep. Got this steel track bike that we're riding, and a flat bar gravel titanium back in Brooklyn. So this is my Hammer Track Steel. This is my second paint job on this frame. I went for a poison frog, but using some swampy colors since I'm from Louisiana. I love Bad Brains, and Eye Against Eye is my favorite album. I think that name can be interpreted a lot of different ways. Oh, and we have a top tube dent from a crash in my last paint scheme, and I am not a fan of bondoing. We got the new logo treatment on there, and we have a new head tube logo Easter egg for people. So anybody on the team or from the shop gets a middle finger, and customers receive the peace sign. And for the build, we got a full Nitto cockpit. We have Sagino 75s, a Zin 49 tooth, and a EAI 17 tooth in the back. Celitalia saddle. For the wheels, we got profile hubs laced to some Belgiums with some Gatorskin 28s, MKS pedals, MASH clips, and a nice little Mess Crib Nitto top cap. Shout out Mess Crib. And yeah, I think that's the full build.
So what made you bring the track bike instead of the gravel bike?
Well, the event that we did in Japan together, the brake laws are intense. The network of the streets can be intense for your first time. So I wanted brakes. I wanted to keep it legal and ride safe. So I feel like in Europe, I've seen enough footage and met enough nice people to trust the process with a track bike, and I'm happy with my decision. So yeah, it's nice taking the track bike to a new place. Really enjoying it. And the track community here is great. Everybody that I've talked to over the last few days has been so welcoming, so sweet, taking us to some nice spots, seeing the sights.
So first time in Europe, and the only other place you've been is Japan. And You've ridden your bike in Louisiana and New York, or the East Coast, we'll say, the U.S. How does riding here in Paris compare to those places? Is there similarities, or what are the differences?
Yeah, so living in New York, I think that I got used to that environment, and then coming here, everything seems to flow in a weird way. I think that the drivers are a little more forgiving. They pay a little more attention. I think that New York drivers are used to last minute reactions and being defensive drivers, but I think that the drivers are a little more impatient in New York. And I think in Paris, my experience has been pretty calm. Yeah, for example, like standing in the middle of the street, chatting with Slow Spin Society, and a car just parked and waited for like, 10, 15 seconds before you'd figure out how to drive around with no honking. And I thought that was really funny. But yeah, I don't get to travel enough. My first time traveling outside of New York and New Orleans was going to Japan in December, and now here, and it's July. It's amazing weather.
So what's your thoughts on traveling with a bike?
Oh yeah, so I'm borrowing a trash bag's big bike bag, and it was a lot easier with the track bike just because I'm definitely not mechanically inclined, so I can assemble my track bike, but when it came to traveling with the gravel bike, I needed some help. I'm a painter, not a mechanic. But yeah, I've been painting for only about 3 years after starting with Weiss, and I got a lot of tips from Cole, who was a one-man Weiss team for a while, and he kind of taught me the ropes. Met some good people along the way that have been mentors to me, and trying to keep it funky around here. I get a lot of influence from graffiti and artists like Puzzhead or Futura, and yeah, I like the abstract. I like things blending. I like you having to get closer to understand what's going on, and from there you can kind of see how much time goes into finishing. So yeah, I like to get a read on how deep the customer goes and how flashy the customer wants to be, because that can be a determining factor. But once I get a feel for their taste, figuring out, some colors they like, some inspiration for a scheme, I start throwing stuff at them and seeing what sticks, and seeing what's the middle ground for me to keep doing something new, because we do, every scheme is one of one, so I do always have to try to reinvent the wheel to some degree, which is easier with certain requests than others. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I'm doing wet paint, Cerakote, titanium anodizing, and raw tie finishing. So brushing, polishing, the works.
How did you get into painting in the first place? Like not even on bikes? Like,
as a teenager, I liked writing my name on the walls, if you know what I mean, and was around those people and had a lot of great mentors in New Orleans for what style is, how to set yourself apart in a world, and I think all of those values do apply to painting bicycles. There's a lot of painters that have been doing this 20 plus years doing amazing jobs. And so starting on Weiss and learning how to paint on a frame, you gotta lean into the style. Gotta keep that flavor to keep it in the talks, keep people looking at what's new from us. And so yeah, that funny enough, that does relate to graffiti. So yeah, I think that there's some connections in my past with that lifestyle and graphic designer. That's what I was doing up until I got overly invested in the paint booth. I'm still doing the graphic design for Weiss, but that was my job at Humidity, and I used to run a skateboard company as a teenager. Use all the money from my restaurant job to buy orders of skateboards. So that's another thing with figuring out layouts and things like that to keep designs original. But painting and finishing bicycles has been a weird mashup of everything that I enjoy and have experience doing, just with the added difficulty of keeping it pro.
Can you share with us one of your short-term and one of your long-term goals you have for yourself? It could be about anything.
I'm starting to paint motorcycles for our shop neighbors, Lurk Shop. They do some really sick builds, and I've been loving the projects that I've gotten with them, and I think that that's a new way for me to keep learning as a painter. And so I think some form of painting will always be in my life. But I have also in my personal life been booking punk shows, and I love the hardcore music industry, and I want to book shows. It's always been a goal of mine to have a venue. So, you know, maybe paint money will help pay the bills to get that opened up later in life whenever I don't want to breathe fumes anymore.
Do you have any future travel plans now it seems like you're traveling more?
We have some things in the works. Personally, I would love to see South Korea, which I think has a very good bike community out there, and we met some people in Japan. Got some Europe plans. I am staying an extra week after this week is over, so I'm trying to go to Berlin and check that out. Obviously, I'd love to see all the major cities, but I got to get back to the paint booth soon, so I got a week. But yeah, I'm excited. Traveling is great, and I don't think I ever gave any effort towards it. I always thought it too expensive, you know, the classics, but it's worth it. It's worth it. I'm having a great time.
Any advice to new people thinking about traveling somewhere with a bike for their first time?
Yeah. Traveling with your bike is super easy. If you know you're going to a city, or even in some cases a town, you can find that local bike shop, support them. They will help you out. They'll look out for you. And you know, in this case, it was MassWorks, and they've helped with so much. You know, in some cases you can store it. They can always assemble your bike for you, and it helps you see more of the city, especially in a city like this or Tokyo. There are a lot more things you can do when you're bike mobile. So highly recommend. Go slow in the beginning, get comfortable with the way the city flows, and enjoy how much more you can see. Even just our group ride yesterday, I feel like you would see way more in that hour than you would in 2 days of being on foot and trying to connect it around metro systems and things like that. So highly recommend the bike for every occasion.
Why did the Weiss come to Paris? Like what's the purpose, the overall goal?
We chose Paris as the first European city that we were working with local shops to pop up in. Our great friend who runs Slow Spin Society, Paul, he grew up in France, and he's who worked with us in Japan as well. And yeah, we've always wanted to kind of get more invested in the European market and just meeting the people. I think that our approach with these trips is not how much stuff can we sell, but who can we meet and spend time with to make it feel like the bike community is alive in ways. And taking the approach from my skateboarding background, pros used to just hop in a van and hit the road, hit cities, 6 people sleeping in a hotel room, and they would just meet people, and that's a beautiful thing. And I think that cycling culture obviously does that to some degree, but the way that street cycling works with track bikes and alley cats, people are meeting each other, but if a brand is not coming through and saying, hey, this is everybody, what bar are we going to tonight? I think people get a new idea for Weiss, and yeah, it's great.
So you guys met with some, you mentioned Massworks, Stolen Garage. They have a really cool like cafe style shop, and now that you guys have your shop with a showroom, is there any things that you want to pull inspiration from or like try to do that they're doing, or things that maybe you want to try to emulate?
Yeah, so for people familiar with the layout of Brooklyn, our shop is in Bushwick, but it's at the far side of it, and it's a little industrial, not as much foot traffic. So we do have this space that we're trying to plug in for hosting events and having a gallery, but you're not really going to have people walking by and finding out what Weiss is. And I think that the shops we're working with in Paris, Massworks, Stolen Garage, they seamlessly integrate the bike services that they offer and make it a place for people to hang out. You can grab a coffee, you can grab some small bites to eat, and it's just nice to spend time. And that's what we want to see out of our space in the near future, is you don't have to buy something to hang out. You can just grab a coffee, grab a pastry, and not be in a rush. Maybe notice some new things we're working on and ask any questions you have. But just try to contribute something to the community.
What is the meaning of life?
My approach has always been experiences, for better or for worse. I'm a big experience enjoyer. So I think as long as you are able to walk away from X amount of time, whether it's a day or your year, and say, I experienced something that gave me insight on life, I learned this about myself, I think that you're doing something right. I think that it's not a race, it's not a challenge, it's not black and white. So experience life has a lot of things to offer, and apply that to your goals and your community, your friends.
Is there anything you want to say that I haven't asked you?
Fixedgear is not dead. And I think that frame building is a beautiful, lifelong product. I don't mean that from a selling point of view, but even just the bike I'm riding now, Cole designed this geometry custom to me, and it's unlike anything I've ever ridden. And I think that that's a valuable tool for people that appreciate cycling. And yeah, I think our goal is to keep traveling, keep working on the community in New York, and meet more communities abroad and see how that applies to what we're trying to do. So yeah, that's my why spiel. Thank you to Cole for trusting me with so much of this process, and Tom for being a great mechanic and a great friend, and somebody that will be at the last stop of the night every night. We're having fun. So yeah, the Weiss is a beautiful thing to be a part of, no doubt. And yeah, I hope that I continue to paint and keep things interesting for myself and for the bike painting community. And thank you to the mentors that have been patient with me, teaching me the ways, because that is a lifelong task to take on, trying to be self-taught. So big shout out to Black Magic Paint over in Portland, the Godfathers.
Where can people find you online if they want to reach out and ask you questions or see your work, or you know?
Well, I'm only on Instagram, and my Instagram is my name, and love to chat with you, but not about work questions. You can email me, info@weissmfg. I'm there for you. But if you want to say hi, if you want to send me music recommendations, hit me up on the gram.
Cole mentioned his phone number is actually on the website, and that you could actually just call him.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, don't call me, call Cole. You can look up our Google business and check in and see how Cole's sleeping tonight. Yeah, we need a shop phone. That's a little ridiculous, but it is what it is.
all right, thank you, Logan, for your time. If you guys want to reach out to him, you know where to get him, or just give Cole a call.
Yeah, just give Cole a call, give me an email. And yeah, thank you, Terry, so much for joining us on both of our trips so far and really bringing the life to it. You're the man, Terry.